as we look at the biggest needs for this 2027 class, and I look at 26, and I think we've seen the wide receiver position, we've seen the offensive line, we've seen the defensive line really be addressed. And those positions are really important. And I think, as we talk about high school recruiting these days, there's got to be the portal side of it, the portal piece, and what all that means and what that could look like for the class of 2027 and each class that we talk about these groups with, and how that'll impact how these are viewed and how you should evaluate, hey, how's the staff doing? How are they hitting their markers? Well, if you look at where this program is from a high school recruiting perspective, there are some positions that are higher up on the ranking than they would be versus on the transfer portal side. Like, we know that the front seven is really a veteran group for the most part on the defensive side. So when I look at the high school side of things, I think, okay, it's important that they get, three defensive ends to kind of mark what they lost or are going to lose out of that group after this season. But at the same time, that's going to be a heavy mixture of portal and high school guys in all likelihood. And I'd be intrigued to see how the staff approaches that group, because you do have some key pieces that would be back for 2027. But at the same time, you need veteran depth. You need some of that competition to complement what you have now coming up through the high school ranks with a Jalen Shivers, a Hudson Woods, and a Montre Harris. And so that's always the conversation that is so fun, and we could walk and run in circles really talking about it and how to best make use of funds and resources and all of those things. Now, I'm of the belief that SMU should always be a player in the portal for a highly sought after defensive tackle and defensive end each cycle, right? Assuming you're going to lose a key contributor off of that position group each year. And for the next 2 years, that's going to be it. After the 2026 season, you're going to lose an Akil Washington and Marquise White. You're going to lose a Malcolm Crowder and Jonathan Jefferson. And you have some nice pieces coming up behind them that'll have eligibility still. But you always want the front seven to be as formidable as possible. So there's always that line to walk. So when I talk about biggest needs, we will do so in the light of, well, there's also the portal that will address certain areas. And so I want to give you guys kind of position by positionally whether I feel it's a big need or not. And I think that's kind of the best way to do it, because when you see these, and if I listed off, let's say 4 positions and said, all right, we're going to go this group, and that group as the biggest needs, well, you could make the argument on all sorts of positions. So outside of just listing off 4 groups and saying that's my biggest needs, I'm going to go position by position and decide whether or not they are the biggest needs. And at quarterback, SMU's already solved this. They have Malachi Zeigler committed, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. They're excited about him, his long-term developmental path. When you look at the quarterback position, I think this is one that probably you're looking at a portal situation as well for SMU after Kevin Jennings departs following this season, because you're in a stage of college football and college athletics as a whole that you can't necessarily leave this to, all right, we like what we've seen from Ty Hawkins. That would be very bold. And that comes from someone that you can see the fit of Ty Hawkins in this offense and really like where it's going. But at the same time, are you going to leave that to chance when you have some of the monetary resources that will be coming off the books in 2026? And this is, you could argue, Rhett Lashley's, and we're obviously way ahead here, guys, right? Like 2026 season hasn't even been played out yet. But this could be Rhett Lashley's next biggest decision, because you are going to have a quarterback room that, with Ty Hawkins, with Malachi Zeigler, obviously Cole Leinert sandwiched in there, that is a healthy mix of the high school guys that you've recruited. But at the same time, you can't go into the 2027 season with questions, because you're going to be returning a nice group of wide receivers, running backs, offensive line will have some key pieces back. You'll have to replace some big names. There's no doubt. But the offense just needs somebody to be the conductor, and it should be revved up, ready to go. So you're going to look at the quarterback position and say, okay, it's already solved in 27, but you're going to go portal as well. I just got to believe you're going to do that. And you're going to roll the ball out between the two of Ty Hawkins and someone else, and you're probably going to see which one comes out on top. That's my gut. I think that's also what they should do. And Rhett Lashley might sit here if he was on this podcast and say, you know what? No, going into this 2026 season, we love Ty Hawkins. He's going to be the next guy. And we're going to use those resources elsewhere. Or they're going to go in a direction at quarterback that is, let's say, adding competition versus we're bringing in a bigger name quarterback transfer to start at the position, like a Duke going and grabbing Darian Mensah from Tulane type of decision. Maybe they don't go that route. Maybe they go pure competition because they like whoever comes out of that battle and they like the direction of Ty Hawkins. That would be a choice, in my opinion. But we're still light years away from that in a sense, because you've got spring ball, you've got the season to play out. About halfway through the season, SMU is going to know whether or not they're going to have to go big or go kind of more just general competition at the quarterback position in 2027. So the 2027 recruiting class, though, is already solved at quarterback. Got Malachi Zeigler done. Don't think you do anything else there. At running back, the biggest need here is getting another top-end talent. And the reason why I say that is because you will have Kendrick Raphael coming off the books. And that is a high-dollar player on this roster. Just is. He's been recruited to be your starting running back. You beat out Tennessee for him. You beat out many other programs that wanted him to come visit and come, be recruited. And you get him. He's a guy who's walking in here with over 1,000 yards of all-purpose offense in 2025. He's going to be your starting running back alongside Jermichael Green. So in 27, you're going to have a running back room that would have Jermichael Green, Christian Rhodes, Eddie Kelly Jr. as a trio, strong trio. You're going to have Derek McFall as a do-it-all guy still. So when I look at that, I say, okay, the big need in this sense is to go and get a star, because that's what you can go and invest in, and you can retain and do all those things. That's my guess. So not a big need position because you have so much young talent, kind of similar to how I'll talk about wide receiver. And wide receiver is only losing one player off this team. So as we transition to wide receiver, this is a position group that isn't a need. I think if they signed two really good guys, you'd be in good shape. Because if you're being honest with yourself,